Yeah. Let's get into game 2 then. Picks and bans are ready. Mouse, though, back to the drawing board again. That really could have been 1-0 to Mouse for sure, but NRG come out with an absolute blinder. I said this to you off air as well, I'm going to say it on air too. That is a World Championship thing you want to do in the Worlds, if anything. Right. Because for me, it's only a one-off performance you could ever see happen. Because now teams are like, well, just in case, let's ward here.
Maybe, but on the world stage, you got all that pressure and it's never actually happened to you before. Are you really going to ward? Are you going to remember? Hey, remember that one time against Mouse where NRG like looped around the back and
these players will.
Thing?
When they come against NRG now, NRG's going to have to come up with another creative way to get there, whether it's going between the tier 1 and tier 2 tower through solo laners, but I don't know. Over the wall.
It's
Athena ult, Nox ult.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, Nox, Morgan, Athena is what you're going to need
it's
to make
one of
it
the
happen.
craziest plays I've seen in a while. Naja, Circuit for NRG, banned away. Freya, Cherryo from Mouse. It leaves emilitoo open, which has been a very dominant pick, and once again, it's going to be first picked for NRG.
Again, why wouldn't you? I mean, it gets you lane pressure almost automatically just because you get 15 power to start with. That's more than any item that you can really start with as a hunter. A lot of hunters are starting with 0 power because they go Hunter's Blessing into Spike Gauntlet. Yeah. That's only 7% life steal and some attack speed, so you just get automatic lane pressure there.
Discordia, Athena, Mouse going back to true tried strategies. Obviously, if one team gets emilitoo, the other one should be looking towards Athena. Both ended up playing very similar roles and styles. Even if they both go solo, they're still going to play the same sort of way.
And I like the Discordia again. BigManTingz looked great on it in that game.
He did.
He continues to have this god at the top of his god pool, and it's also very, very good against Amma in particular. Dazzling offensive, very slow, telegraphed stun. You can use erratic behavior. You can use your own ultimate for CC immunity. You've got lots of options in order to immune it.
Well, Yammyn not going to be going back to the R-Plosh this game. He's going to pick up the Raijin instead. And I like this god a little bit more so for the mobility factor and, well, the long-range engage too for keeping people trapped and bursting the damage down.
It's also great against Discordia because you're guaranteed to hit every area of that cloud with the Taiko drums. R-Plosh is the same, but it doesn't have that same level of safety that Raijin can provide. Also, a little bit more early game pressure. You'd imagine from this Raijin can clear the wave pretty early on, though. Again, R-Plosh can too. He's putting himself out of position to do it.
Mouse taking the Ratatoska here, which we've seen a little bit less of towards the end of the year, but he's starting to rise back again. Funny enough, when the clutch situations appear, you start to see more of the semi-globals come back for safety.
And that's no surprise. FrostiaK played well on the Circuit in the last game as well. I think the entirety of Mouse
they had a great performance.
Seemed really, really strong.
They deserved the win for game 1. The difference is that NRG deserved it more because they came up with an absolutely mental strategy that worked.
I'm interested in how Mouse is going to do in this game, though. I think this is telling because that's a game that can be a serious tilter. And historically, this roster of old Elevate, now Mouse, has had problems with staying even-keeled whenever things don't go quite their way. So let's see how if they can keep their communication up, if they can keep their team morale up, or if they're going to fold under the pressure of NRG. And remember, that's critical that NRG won that.
No,
Obey is sitting there watching Mouse do fire and going, yes, yeah, behind,
no,
turn, and then they lose. I mean, Obey is on the precipice of putting themselves in a position. They've got a really tough week 6, but they do need NRG to drop at least 1 here to Mouse.
Well, maybe they do. Hou-Yi, Sobek, the final 2 picks for NRG. Really nicely rounded out roster there. Sobek for the solo lane, RTO in response in that solo lane. Chiron, the rise of Chiron's coming back.
I love Chiron against his composition. Just like against Athena, you can use that cleanse from training exercise to really get people out of Amma ult, out of Mercury special delivery. There's lots of slow, guaranteed CC on NRG, and that's what Chiron excels against.
Has Mouse got the fortitude to actually come back into this, though, after that devastating end?
Man, I don't think so. Again, I think NRG understand how important this is, but after how well Mouse played in that last game, it's hard to vote against them. I still have to go with NRG.
If it was just the picks and bans alone, who would you side with?
NRG. I think Mercury's really good right now. I think Amma's really good right now. Sobek is obviously great. I really like NRG's draft.
You guys at home get to have a chance of voting on that and see who you think will win. The casters are standing by, though. Can Mouse come back into this one? Or is NRG just taking the wind out of their sails? We'll find out. Game 2, it's Taco and Finch.
Yeah, Hindu, I think the wind might be out of their sails. We'll certainly find out here. But this is a shell of a man. My heart and soul are back in that play NRG made in game 1. And I got to imagine mousesports are having a hard time picking it back up too, but they have to, Taco, try and find a way to win here in this game.
Mental fortitude's all part of the sign-up for competitive play here, and Mouse, they've got to be no different to any other Pro League team in their position. And right now, it's a fresh match, it's a fresh chance, and there's always the possibility that this one heads to a Game 3, especially after that Game 1 performance.
Yeah, in mousesports, I know it is so difficult in a loss like that to try and find something positive, but they looked great in Game 1. I think you can very clearly say that. And NRG had to make a big-time hero play, maybe flip to the back of the playbook and call one that you don't want to have to call here, but they absolutely did. So Mouse just have to repeat what they did in Game 1, except maybe one ward on their side of the map this time. You don't normally think you have to. It was overkill, the wards they had on that side of the map. They only needed one more on the backside.
But see, we're talking a lot about Mouse here, and we haven't really had a chance to address NRG, mostly because Adapting's going to be forcing out BigManTingz' beads. They're already at level 2 in the mid lane role. BigManTingz not wanting to eat the percussive storm damage from Yammyn. And what I wanted to say, Finch, is that NRG also had to dive pretty deep in that game to find the victory.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you, Taco. So now NRG have to try and find a way to recover too. I wonder if Adapting's going to wrap around the back end of this one here. He certainly has the chance. EmilZy's pushing aggressively forward. Cherryo gets interrupted in the dash with the special delivery. Does have a chance. The dive bomb from emilitoo's the wrong way. Cherryo okie dokes everyone, and Dardez finds the kill onto Adapting.
The jukes, baby! That's all it's about. They had no idea which direction Cherryo was going to go, and he just goes straight backwards.
Maybe just another second of patience. FrostiaK here now to pour some salt onto the wound. Blocks the dash from emilZy. Nowhere to go. Hits him with the acorns as well. Now emilitoo's got to run for the hills. But mousesports, if you were wondering if they were reeling after the Game 1 loss, well, here's your answer.
Dardez will find the last hit onto emilitoo, and what a clown fiesta there for NRG and Duo.
Oh, man.
Such a strong game plan from Adapting initially. And it seemed like it was going to be Cherryo that ended up as the first blood casualty. Adapting and emilitoo both just getting duped by that straight back the lane dash.
That's all it takes. A little bit of ice in the veins there from Cherryo, as I think he just barely sells that he might go into the jungle path. And emilitoo and emilZy both bite on it. And unfortunately, that's all that it takes for him to be able to find his way back out. And 3 huge kills in return. Now, Nika's okay over here on the solo side. maniaKK and Adapting don't quite have enough there, but a big answer back from Mouse.
I was almost waiting for Yammyn and BigManTingz to get involved for a second there because of how much time Mouse and NRG were both spending, respectively, in duo lane. It does seem like BigManTingz got the better end of Yammyn, though, at least for this early clear here in the mid lane. But I don't expect this to last for an incredibly long period of time. Ryzen will do what Ryzen has always been great at doing, and that is clearing the wave in no time at all.
His early clear is very strong. Once he has that Raiju on lock, the percussive storm becomes that much stronger of a clear tool for him. So very difficult for BigManTingz to try and match up with what he'll be able to put out. But I mean, you got to be feeling good if you're Mouse right now. 2-0-1 for Dardez, 0-0-3 for Cherryo, absorbing some nice assist credits. Already has his defense boots finished. Dardez has full warrior tabi and tier 1 finished as well for where he wants to go with the second item. They got to be feeling good.
Check out FrostiaK, though, just waiting for his chance to strike. Doesn't have a blink available. He's just here to soak up XP, but emilZy bound to have spotted out that little rat hanging out in those left mid harpies. But no fight so far. NRG not really interested in taking the bait.
So unfortunately not able to find much more from it on the back end, but I like the idea from lurking over the walls. They're trying to find something more there, but mousesports, you haven't had a chance to talk too much about the actual nature of this composition and how strong it can be. They've got that double rotational ability between FrostiaK and Cherryo and the Rat and the Athena. Even some nice range from Dardez too, to consider that ultimate. Not nearly global, but certainly can cover some good distance. This squad from mousesports will be able to do a fairly decent job of trying to chase down targets if they do end up getting too far away.
Great job from emilitoo as well to recognize that something fishy was going on over there for Dardez to be trying to poke him down before he even got back to the T1 tower area. Dive bomb will keep him safe and sound, and with Through the Cosmos now being on the cooldown here, this could be a prime opportunity for Adapting to look to strike back.
Patience from Dardez, though. Drops the one over the wall to try and contest. A little bit too early. He might have gotten the smalls, but looks like emilitoo should be able to confirm the buff itself if he wants to. Dardez gonna freeze the wave a bit, make life hard on emilitoo. They earned this early lead here the hard way, and now a chance to bully. Even though emilitoo does have a top-tier skin on, I would say, turning into the bush, that's big place.
Dardez can't see him when that happens.
That's big place.
Dardez also looking for that masterful shot follow-up, trying to get the proc onto Emil. All he needs is one auto. That's it. Just one. One. Not going to find it. emilitoo's got too strong of juke boots.
Fortunately, they couldn't find much more there, but Dardez is doing everything right, I would say, in lane now by just kind of bullying emilitoo away and freezing this wave and not letting him get any farm. In fact, emilitoo so far is forced to back. And look at this, Dardez just going to keep it going, freezing the wave, letting the creeps die to each other, and denying farm over to emilitoo. Going to make things even worse in the duo lane for NRG's Hunter.
Yammyn, though, could be in a little bit of trouble here. Will manage to dash away in time, however, and so actually not in as much trouble as I originally believed. And maniaK's also kind of in the same boat as his mid laner. Both of them just getting pressured out pretty well. So Mouse, not only do they have 3 unanswered kills on the board already, but NRG have kind of been in a little bit of a confusion, I think, as to how to strike back.
It's definitely tough to try and find a way back in, especially in duo, where Dardez has done a good job freezing this wave. But elsewhere on the map, things aren't too bad. Adapting should still be relatively free to farm. He's going to be splitting the speed buff with Yammyn, it would appear, who helps him clear it out. But aside from that, they should still be free to move around the map and get their farm as they like. I really feel like it's only emilitoo who's been hurt because all that kill credit, so much of it, went to Dardez. As Yammyn says goodbye to half his HP, emilZy wants to keep the fight going.
And Cherryo going to provide a little bit of damage mitigation with that Defender of Olympus. And now that Cherryo has joined the party, NRG don't seem all that interested in sticking around. Instead, Adapting will charge that Sonic Boom. Maybe gonna decide to go in here if emilZy's able to spot out a prime target. But with BigManTingz and Cherryo just a little bit too well protected by the walls off that red buff, no chance for Adapting to come back in.
That's right, yeah. There's certain guys, when they show up at the party, you kind of want to leave. And at least in the context of Smite, Cherryo can be that here for this team. You don't want to keep going once his Athena starts knocking on the door. Hey, I would party with Cherryo, but I don't want to party with his Athena. It's dirty.
Are you going to party with Cherryo at the after party? At
Absolutely. I assume they will be there. I have faith in this Mouse roster. They're very strong. But if it's his Athena, I want nothing to do with it. It's dirty, and I ain't trying to play against it. As emilitoo has to use the Suns just to clear it, still not enough. Dardez feels comfortable going aggressive but can't find the autos. emilitoo now in the man fight, but Dardez disagrees. FrostiaK's here to try and even things back out.
emilitoo is dead.
Yep.
There is no questions about that, but there could be some return fire from Adapting. Nice double hit on the Sonic Boom. Dardez now going to be forced into that Chiron ultimate, but he won't find the last hit, so he's going to end up falling here.
Good turnaround as Yammyn drum solos a little bit too loud for the tiny rat ears. FrostiaK goes back to base. That makes it 2-for-1 in NRG's favor.
That was the punish that I wanted to see, though, for Dardez playing with his food. That is exactly the kind of burn that needs to take place, because there is no reason for Dardez to stand still. I get it. You miss a couple of auto attacks, fine. But we don't care. We don't want to watch you just stand there like an idiot. You need to actually commit or get out, because you're just giving NRG even more time to come back in.
He waffled a little bit too much on how hard he wanted to commit. Tingz is going to fall, but Defender of Olympus means that Cherryo's now here with no one to support. Nika does come back in on the backside and drop the cripple field. Adapting is low, but they've made it back out. NRG find one more pick, this time onto Tingz. Yammyn caught out by FrostiaK, but emilZy has rotated in.
Nice shell from emilZy. He's also going to buy Yammyn a little bit more time here. He will be able to dash safely back into the presence of his T1 tower. And I'll admit it, Finch, I can't get over the fact that Dardez actually wasted that much time there. FrostiaK was off the mark with a couple of his abilities, but he was looking to confirm the kill the entire time onto emilitoo. Dardez wasted way too much time in duo.
Yeah, and he missed a few auto attacks too, and I think that's kind of what initially set them behind, at least in terms of their damage output. But then it also, you know, just the reaction on the back end of it certainly ended up hurting him a little bit too. So got to make sure that in those 1v1s, he cleaned it up a little bit more.
I don't even care that he misses the auto attacks. Honestly, it's just do something, right? Or like don't just stand there and do nothing at all.
And maybe there's a communication element to it too, like how much does FrostiaK want to commit to this? And maybe Dardez is a little bit waffling in between because of their communication. But I agree, it certainly looks weird when after the auto attacks, they're kind of both just kind of waffling a little bit between emilitoo and him are standing there. Then FrostiaK shows up and they recommit.
FrostiaK now trying to protect this ward here, and emilZy going to be prompted into the dazzling offense, but he wasn't expecting the boys to be back in town so soon. Yammyn's not going to find a kill with the Taiko drum so far, and neither will FrostiaK through the Cosmos. But a bit of an awkward engagement for both teams at that top left mid heartbeat choke point.
I would say so. They couldn't quite find much more there, and emilZy drops the ultimate Estus Yammyn. Looks like they really only get FrostiaK on the back end, which he wishes he has right now, as Adapting cuts him off at the pass and takes down the Rat. Cherryo able to make it out of there, though, without much problem. It's BigManTingz stuck by himself under the tier 1, but without the ultimate, they don't have much more kill potential here.
Adapting also, we haven't really seen too much of him ever since that failed level 2 gank over in duo, but he's done a really great job at bouncing back. And in fact, he's leading over FrostiaK now in terms of experience, and despite not having really been involved with too much of the action up until later on in the engagements, he's definitely made sure to return fire every single time onto Mouse.
He maybe hasn't been the initiator as much anymore, but he was instrumental on the return fire, as you said, on that emilZy Dardez 1v1 that escalated into a full team fight on that left-hand side. I think he found a 2-man Sonic Boom, pulled beads in that engagement too, so that was certainly nice from him. But we haven't seen the aggression yet that we saw from him in Game 1. As this game here is still relatively even, Mouse have got to be feeling good so far. I think they've held pretty easily against a top-end team here in Europe.
Yammyn does still have his purification beads, but he won't be baited out by Cherryo so soon. He knew how safe he was that close to the vicinity of his T1 tower line that a taunt was not going to lead into death most likely, because BigManTingz was simply too far away.
Not going to be able to find much more potential there. As Cherryo actually might be a little bit of trouble. emilZy and Adapting put in some damage. Cherryo wants to turn things back around, look for more of a fight. FrostiaK goes up into the air as well, but he wants Yammyn in the middle lane. Great recognition and a great chase down from FrostiaK, but Adapting wants the answer back. Special delivery off the mark, so it's up to emilZy to try and find the kill. Made you look not enough, and emilZy now in trouble.
The burst heal, though, that was some nice sustain there for FrostiaK, and it will end up getting him on out of there as Cherryo claims the life of emilZy in the end there. So far, a solid 2-for-0 exchange in favor of Mouse.
A very soft commit, I would say, from Adapting, and emilZy in the jungle gets responded heavily by Cherryo, and the follow-up is excellent from FrostiaK in particular, who target switches over to Yammyn and chases him down. Now maniaKK in trouble as Dardez gonna keep up with the giddy up, and a masterful execution from Dardez takes down maniaKK on the right-hand side. mousesports are absolutely here to play today.
emilitoo, though, still looking for Nika underneath this T1 tower. They don't have their ADC damage that they need.
Wow.
Adapting's going to end up falling first, but it will come at a cost. This time around, Cherryo's not going to be able to get out. emilitoo was looking for the fancy life ricochet, but can't close the gap there in time to bring down Nika.
Yeah, Pinky's out, at least for emilitoo as he looks for the fancy shot, but can't quite find it. They do find the return kill on a Cherryo underneath the tier 1 tower, but an extended engagement goes pretty heavily in favor of mousesports. At least Taco in these sort of early game, cluttered up 3v3, sort of engagements, 2v2. mousesports seem to have come out the better. They now have a gold lead of about 2,200 experience, right around the same mark. I mean, I am impressed with what we've seen from Mouse here today.
This is the kind of fire, though, that you want to see from Mouse. They went through with those roster changes, confident that it was going to be their best chance at making a run at Worlds. And so far, it seems like they're proving it.
Yeah, this would not be the first time that Mouse has gotten hot going into a group play stage right before Worlds, right? I mean, Elevate did it last year, and this would certainly be the right time for Mouse to start firing on all cylinders. We've said it all year long that this team had potential to play up, and they did it. We saw the placement stages. We've been kind of waiting on it to materialize, and maybe it's here now as emilZy gets cut down to half HP. emilitoo very cautious with the positioning for the ultimate there. It does cut off Dardez, but Defender of Olympus mitigates so much damage that there's no more work.
That was a great Aegis, though, from Dardez. Enough to buy him not only immunity to the dazzling offense damage, but also Adapting couldn't really do much about it. Adapting's trying to do something about it now, though, charging up the Sonic Boom. Even if you just see the Mercury charge, that's still going to prompt Mouse to try and spread out a little bit.
Yeah, even if you just hear the clap, you're like, well, we cannot stand near one another, not if that's going to be ripping through the jungle at any moment. maniaKK goes in aggressive, and that is good poke he's able to find on BigManTingz to force him back. Oracle Vision on the Gold Fury for Mouse, so they'll know if there's any shenanigans. But maniaKK, oh no, might have been isolated. He's lurking in the waters, gets caught out. Nika cuts him down with the claws.
Even if it hadn't been Nika, that masterful shot was about to connect anyway.
Masterful.
So regardless, NRG was going to end up losing their solo laner there, I believe. But adapting with a nice Sonic Boom will end up sticking out onto Dardez first. Dardez has no relics available right now.
They don't find much more as FrostiaK lands on adapting on the backside, forces out his Aegis. emilZy very low and falls to Cherryo as the 1v1 between the junglers continues. Nika, Cherryo, Tingz, and FrostiaK all want to keep up the chase. Cherryo can't find the taunt, so NRG will make it out for now, but mousesports should be heading right to the Gold Fury.
And I like this from Mouse. The player discipline to not try to push too deep here. You've got the advantage. Take it while it's lasting, because Mouse are probably not going to have another opportunity like this again. Just like Yammyn won't have a chance to get away from this T2 tower because FrostiaK's going to dive him.
FrostiaK has been playing lights out so far on this Ratatosker. It's really his target selection and the understanding of how much damage he has that's impressed me from him. Not like he's been a mechanical god or anything. It's been that he was like, I can absolutely kill you here and I'm going to commit on it. And he's been right almost every time. emilitoo expends the ultimate onto Cherryo, but not much more there. But mousesports now up 11-5 in kills and grabs the Gold Fury. So they're up about 5,000 gold as well.
Cherryo doesn't care. He wanted that Sunbreaker, if anything, because
shrugged it off.
That's just another ultimate that emilitoo won't have in case he needs to box against Dardez. Although, I'm not really expecting to see emilitoo try to go one-on-one with Dardez anytime soon here.
No.
He's trailing by about a level and a half. Maybe after he finishes this Crusher, he'll feel a little bit more confident in trying to step up. But currently, fully stacked Transcendence might be a little bit more damage than the Devo gloves.
Yeah, I would think so. Right now, Dardez is in a good spot. And he's done well in this Chiron, I would say, as well. Really, all of Mouse have been executing very, very cleanly so far. But can they keep that going? Because now, Taco, we're starting to transition out of the laning phase where this global rotation composition has been able to play the numbers game a little bit over NRG. It's not nearly as much of now there's suddenly 3 up against 2. If they start grouping up and having team fights around the FG, around the Gold Fury, can they maintain this same team fight focus in the rest of the stages of the game?
Well, that's actually something I wanted to bring up here, Finch, is that Mouse, for as well as they've been playing for the current 18 minutes and climbing of this match, it's still in that early to mid-game transition. But if this game is permitted to go past, I'd say even the 25, 27-minute mark, that's when we'll probably start to see some of this lead dissolving for Mouse.
emilZy in trouble. He gets caught out by the dash. Wow, but they commit the apple trying to chase down emilZy. He dashes right out of there, and that means he will be A-OK. Now NRG can feel a little bit more freed up on the right-hand side without having to worry about the apple, but they're not going to be looking for the Fire Giant very likely without a big fight in their favor. Mouse are still too far ahead for such shenanigans.
That looked like BigManTingz' apple just happened to clip an unlucky corner. emilZy still looking to push forward, will avoid the root. Nicely done there. But BigManTingz, that unruly magic really starting to force a couple of problems here for NRG in terms of damage output.
Mouse want to force the issue as well. They've got the Pyromancer at least looking at it. emilZy locked down a little bit inside the cripple field, but he stayed calm. FrostiaK blinks onto the backside for emilitoo, but won't find much there. It's now maniaKK in trouble. He lurks in the waters, gets away for now, but FrostiaK is up into the air. He should be able to hunt him down. Can't find him. Charge Prey gets him out of position, and maniaKK will be permitted to back.
This should still give a prime opportunity for Mouse to at least try and pull this Pyromancer. That is, unless they realize Adapting's wrapping right around behind them. They've already had this happen once so far in the game. Dardez is going to lose his Purification Beads, and Adapting with the overshot means that there's no immediate collapse.
But right into the taiko drums goes Yammyn to try and find some more damage over the wall. emilitoo, though, it's just too low. Gets blown up by Dardez. mousesports now in a 5v4. They want Yammyn, who's all alone. Left-hand side, the cripple field is excellent. Thunder Crash not going to get off, and BigManTingz locks him down. 2 kills for mousesports to push NRG up against the wall. Mouse now have a chance to go back to the FG.
Cherryo, though, will end up getting plugged right back in here. Adapting, trying to cut him off. Special delivery, going to cancel out that dash one more time. And as Cherryo continues charging it, it's because he's just trying to waste their time. maniaK and Adapting now going to realize that the real Fire Giant is what they're after.
But this is perfect. They leash in and go back for the fight instead. maniaK does find 1 kill, but Adapting ends up falling in trade to BigManTingz. Nika finds maniaK. The root going to land onto emilZy, and he's in trouble as well. mousesports might not be comfortable going for the Fire Giant, but they'll take Pyromancer and even the life here of emilZy, it would seem.
That's what they're going for, at least. Masterful shot gonna end up slowing him down, but it's not enough.
Wow.
Nika can't close the gap, so that claw strike is just not gonna be able to do it here. And Cherryo, if he's not careful, might actually end up dying to this Pyromancer.
But this is still a big deal, I would say, because Mouse were not able to get the Fire Giant, Taco. They got the Pyromancer, yes. They won the fight rather handily, yes, and they're still in the lead, yes, yes, yes. But they don't get the Fire Giant.
They don't get the Fire Giant, and remember what we said, 25, 27 minutes.
Right.
It's looking good for Mouse, but that might also just be because their draft is simply better during these earlier phases of the match. Not to mention that they just got off to an excellent start.
They absolutely did.
Rolling on out a duo with 3 kills off the bat, that couldn't have been more ideal here. And the reason why I say that this is kind of a race against the clock for Mouse is mostly because of the fact that they have Dardez on this Chiron and FrostiaK with the Ratatoskr. Those aren't exactly gods that tend to fare so well in the late game. Sure, you can make them work, but typically Chiron is best in compositions where you don't have to rely on him being the sole hunter. As this game drags on, if NRG continue delaying it by preventing Mouse from taking things like the Fire Giant, then it might eventually reach a point where Adapting can simply Sonic Boom into the backline and look to 2-shot Dardez.
mousesports, though, pull away the Gold Fury from NRG. Another strong, objective-focused play from mousesports. And even with the Sonic Boom from Adapting, it is not enough to contest. But Taco, I think you make a valid point. Aside from maybe Cherryo on this Athena, just about everyone in NRG, I would say, is a god I'd prefer late game over their direct opposition.
I like BigManTingz on Discordia. Discordia is really strong for base defense
It
and
is
the like.
strong.
Sieging, though, different category entirely, as emilZy is going to be forced out of that dazzling offense. But check out Adapting. I love this split push here for NRG. This is something that I think is an NRG specialty, by the way. If they're losing on one part of the map, no problem. We'll just go to the other side and force you to come visit us.
And Nika does drop the teleport to make sure Adapting can't find anything more there. maniaK one more time, though, is on solo island, gets bursted very quickly. He's lurking in the waters, though. emilZy even drops the sprint just to make sure they can make it out. maniaK gonna back right away, has teleport if he wants to come back in.
The sprint might have seemed unnecessary, but keep in mind, FrostiaK has been waiting for that lurking in the waters to come through and then going straight into that through the Cosmos. It kind of sends NRG for a loop because they're not certain as to whether or not FrostiaK is going to try to collapse on top of maniaK after he merges from that Sobek ultimate, or if he's going to look for another target like Yammyn, for example, which is something that he's also done earlier in this game. So it's just keeping NRG on their toes, really.
And so far, it's worked out well for them. FrostiaK, in particular, has had a pretty good game so far, I would say, with his chase downs on the backsides of team fights. This game has slowed down a little bit, which again I think does favor mousesports. I agree, I don't think Discordia falls off the map entirely, but Raijin is so strong in these late game fights. The Taiko drums, it is rather nice. They have a lot of tools. You know, Mercury very good late, Hou-Yi very good late. Sobek almost unmatched in terms of Guardian and team fight presence. Maybe Athena might be a little bit better because Taunt is such a powerful tool. But mousesports, I think these globals are what are going to start having less and less impact as the game goes on.
I think that's already kind of started to show.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, it was Nika who had to go and defend the T2 tower over there for Mouse. But just look at what NRG are doing right now. They're not concerned in the slightest about not pressuring. They just want the farm. They need to get their itemization back on track to equal that of Mouse. And now Mouse are finally going to give another shot at this Fire Giant, but with maniaK and the rest of NRG.
Oh no.
Look at Adapting.
A chance for a take two on the wraparound here from NRG. Fire Giant is leashed. mousesports want to take the fight instead. Dazzling offensive finds 2 in the stun. Adapting has Sonic Boom charged up and hits 3 and forces out relics from everybody. maniaK goes in aggressive charge prey to pull back in Dardez, and that's enough for Yammyn to find 1 kill. FrostiaK lands on nobody. He wants to come in the backside to find Yammyn, but he thunder crashes away. Adapting finds BigManTingz, and somehow NRG have turned yet another team fight in their favor.
3 members of NRG are just so incredibly low, but it's only FrostiaK, Cherryo, and Nika left standing. And I don't know if FrostiaK has the damage to find anything. He's going to dash on forward anyway, looking for the flurry of Acorns for the follow-up, but instead it's going to be Nika getting controlled inside of that special delivery.
Adaptin finds Nika. They've lost all their damage dealers here now. Taco and NRG are the ones surging forward. Charge Prey to pull Cherryo back into the Sharks. Adapting with a double kill. It's only FrostiaK alive, and NRG a chance to claim the Fire Giant one more time. mousesports cannot get it done at the FG.
I just feel like FrostiaK has to connect with his abilities there.
Yeah.
There were way too many missed abilities. It was not just one Acorn Blast or one flurry of Acorns either. It was also that through the Cosmos, you need that damage.
And the knockup as well. The utility from it was non-existent. And it's unfortunate because I would say FrostiaK has had one of his better games we've seen from him yet, all the way up until that fight. And it's just unfortunate that he misses it there because mousesports needed him. NRG, on the other hand, have an excellent team fight. maniaKK, even low HP, make sure to go find Dardez with the Charge Prey on the back end of that. And that's what plugs him back in towards Yammyn for damage. Adapting able to bring him down. Once they lost Dardez, they lost so much of their damage in that fight.
That's what makes competitive play so bittersweet though, Finch, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can play
absolutely
perfectly for 20 minutes and no flaws whatsoever, but you slip up in one team fight and that could just cost you the game.
You gotta play all 4 quarters, man. That's what they say in traditional sports all the time. And it's absolutely the same here. Even if you jump out to an early lead, you have to maintain that focus and execution the entire game. Taco, look at that gold lead. It has been entirely normalized. Experience as well. mousesports now virtually have no lead whatsoever. It's an even game. And we've been saying this whole time that we like NRG's late game comp a little bit better. emilZy might get caught out here, though. He's trapped inside the crippled field. The apple's actually going to land on emilitoo. That's a huge target as BigManTingz deletes him right away. Cherryo keeps Nika nice and healthy as FrostiaK's up on the tree. He has nowhere to land as Adapting wants to wrap around the backside, but there's really not anything more for him to find.
We've only ever seen Adapting from this angle, by the way.
Yes.
Just really far behind everybody, looking to catch someone off guard, if not the entirety of Mouse, with that Sonic Boom. And it's worked, I'd say, probably 90% of the time.
I absolutely would agree with you. Adapting been able to hit home for the most part. Mouse do find the gold Fury. They actually find a nice gold lead overall on the back end of that. Now they have a chance to grab the tier 2 tower. Even though there's an Emperor's Armor here, maniaKK gonna try and force everybody back. It is enough to buy space as Cherryo can't hang any longer. Plucked back in towards emilZy, but they don't have the main damage dealers as FrostiaK blinks in.
Nice poke damage there onto emilZy. Watch out for Adapting, though. He is rather deep. Again, trying to just see where Mouse are going to choose to strike next. But with the Fire Giant still on 4 members of NRG, I doubt that Mouse are going to want to push any further. They're probably going to permit for NRG to shove up to them. No! Actually, oh, I thought they weren't backing. I thought they were going to like cancel their backs for a second there and try to catch out Yammyn.
Not going to be the case here. mousesports will settle for backing and playing defense after unfortunately giving up the Fire Giant. Now it's time for NRG to push into the tier 2 and left-hand side. Tingz, Dardez, Cherryo all nearby. FrostiaK has the ultimate if he wants to try and make it here rather quickly. They've got good damage, but they haven't been able to get emilitoo in range just yet. emilZy takes some poke. FrostiaK on the right-hand side is hanging out, waiting patiently for his chance to go in as maniaKK finds some poke as well. NRG playing this very slowly.
FrostiaK just trying to stay out of NRG's field of view, but Adapting a little bit more preoccupied right now alongside of the rest of NRG, just trying to take down that T2 tower. And without NRG actually threatening a Phoenix, there's no real reason for Mouse to step outside of their comfort zone here.
I think so too. Maybe like I call it showing face, right, on those towers. You come in, you don't let them burn them down instantly for free, but you also don't heavily commit. Now a chance to turn over towards this tier 1 tower instead and burn this one down. And for some reason, Mouse seem much more content to try and fight here, but I think they think a bit better of it and let that one go down.
Fire Giant only remaining around NRG for about another 15 seconds or so, and then it's going to be a toss-up as Mouse can maybe look to contest the next Fire Giant.
I think so.
This game has already started to hit that mid to late game transition, Finch, and what I really want to see is if Mouse do happen to win the next team fight, whether or not they'll even be able to breach past the base defenses, because NRG's defense on Phoenixes is a little bit of a yikes to me.
Yeah, you don't want to be trying to siege into Raijin. The Raiju damage is an absolute nightmare when it could spread throughout you when you're grouped up. emilitoo's Suns are also a bit of a nightmare too when you're trying to siege into the Sunbreaker. And then obviously maniaKK on the Sobek can pluck you back in. They have a lot of strong tools, I agree, to make sieging difficult. So Mouse is going to need to win this Fire Giant fight handily, I would imagine, to try and make the siege that much easier. But virtually even for this mousesports roster up against NRG in both games. They've got to be feeling good about that.
Hard not to at this point, Finch, as now NRG will be grouped up, both sides preparing for this next Fire Giant brawl. And I almost want to say it's anybody's game, because Mouse have had such strong responses, despite having a composition that I don't personally believe to be all that strong in this part of the match. They're making it work.
EmilZy gets taunted in, already half HP, so is maniaKK. Sunbreaker, though, does split up the team fight. The carries are on the back end, and all the tanks are on the right. Yammyn, though, it might be too far forward, but just barely gets away from the ultimate for FrostiaK, and the Tycho drums. Shell keeps him alive. That was critical for Yammyn to be able to keep going. Aegis extends his life bar as well, and they have to overcommit to find him as maniaKK finds Dardez on the backhand side. But maniaKK, emilZy, and emilitoo all very, very low. Mouse have a chance to capitalize here.
FrostiaK had his eyes set onto maniaKK, however, and didn't realize that he could have had another tasty treat instead with emilitoo. emilZy will make sure to bring down BigManTingz, and with that ammo passive, might be a little bit too fast to catch.
That is both the carries, though, for mousesports. Dardez and BigManTingz both have been removed. FrostiaK has good damage, but it's not going to be enough to take down emilZy. NRG just barely managed to keep that fight even. In fact, maybe even slightly in their advantage, because they still have emilitoo very healthy in all of the damage he provides.
But I doubt that emilitoo and maniaKK are going to be all that interested in trying to bring down this Fire Giant alone.
No.
They need emilZy close by. I'm just more surprised that Mouse didn't collapse onto Yammyn sooner.
Yeah, he was alone on the left-hand side. He just barely gets away from FrostiaK's ultimate taco. It was so close. Then the shell comes out as well, I believe, from emilZy to just barely keep him alive. That was instrumental to allow him to extend his life with the Aegis. And the bit of overcommit that Mouse had to make is what allows, I think, Dardez and BigManTingz to fall on the backside of that fight.
Still, with all things considered, I think that NRG have probably fared a little bit better than what they should have in that last engagement.
Absolutely.
I really thought that Mouse was going to end up wiping NRG there. As soon as I saw 3 different members from NRG fall to that 50% or less threshold, that was it in my mind. That looked like the prime opportunity for Mouse to siege full control of this game and look for the wipe against NRG. But the DSI is going to have to wait just a little bit longer here, and Mouse are going to have to just play it out until their next opportunity.
33 minutes in. The game tied even still for NRG and mousesports. Adapting, gone with a very similar build that we saw last game. The Poison Star into the Deathbringer. It's doing good work for him. Maybe not quite as much as he had last game, though. He is the top damage dealer for NRG, at least so far. We're seeing some nice builds. Looks like Yammyn has held on to the Messengers all game long as well, Taco. Not gone into the Bumbas just yet.
I believe that Yammyn is holding on to until he has enough gold to full out buy another item.
Like to sell it,
I don't think that we can expect to see him holding on to this Messenger's Mask for much longer. It's so late into the match now that he's probably gotten enough gold to buy some of the cheaper mage items, but maybe is trying to wait it out for something like a Ratatouille or even a Spear of Desolation. There's a lot of different options that he could probably lean towards.
He absolutely has some options there. It looks like BigManTingz is working on a Ratatouille of his own, so NRG might want to match that with their own mid lane mage. They're waiting on the Aegises and the other relics to come back online. Yammyn's just now ticked over, and Adapting should be there shortly as well to give them all their relics. Same for BigManTingz, who's just about to get his back.
You know, it's always one of my favorite parts about watching competitive play is people probably wonder all the time, why are the pros just standing there staring at each other? It's because no one wants to initiate until they know for a fact that their carries' relics are online.
Absolutely, and that's the smart way to do it. It's why these teams so consistently do well, Tacos. They stare each other down one more time.
emilitoo looking for some cheeky bounces there around the corner, trying to get some of that double and triple ricochet damage online.
Gross.
But it's going to have to take a wait here as Mouse will successfully end up pushing energy a little bit further back.
emilZy takes some poke one more time. They drop the mark, but it's emilitoo who takes some strife damage. Nothing to write home about, but this will buy a moment for Mouse to control all the positioning around the FG. The full disengage from NRG as mousesports aggressively push forward.
This Discordia, the unruly magic and the strife burst damage is so intense here. NRG are just struggling up until Cherryo just gets a little bit out of position.
Gets pulled back into the Tycho drums, and emilitoo is the one that hits home. Now FrostiaK a bit overcommitted, still has the ultimate though, he'll make it back up. emilZy very low. FrostiaK could certainly re-engage. He does for the knockup, and Nika finds the kill. 1-for-1, support for support.
Oh no, Adapting went way too far. He was looking for Dardez, but instead ends up overshooting inside of the blue bug. Dardez just got a little bit too far ahead of him to get hit by that sonic boom. And now that's going to be 2 members dead for NRG as Mouse turned their sights immediately towards the Fire Giant.
A Fire Giant well earned by mousesports. Very, very patient. All set up by BigManTingz finding that strife onto emilitoo, and I believe emilZy was there with him as well. That damage was instrumental in forcing NRG back, in opening up for mousesports to step forward and start looking for more damage.
NRG were so close to turning that fight around.
Yes.
Once I saw Cherryo get that low, I pictured that NRG would be able to burst him down, reset, and then wait for another opportunity for Adapting to find the sonic boom. It just took too long for the sonic boom to come out, and for it to be as off the mark as it was just so unfortunate, because I think it was maybe a hair that he misses Dardez by.
And that really can kind of determine the fight. Now it's mousesports with the Fire Giant on 4 members. There's a pause coming out here from FrostiaK. We'll give them a chance to get everything sorted out with the players. But Taco, I mean, you've got to be impressed here with this Mouse play today, right? In game 1, if not for a Hail Mary, just excellent play from NRG to loop around the back, that might have been their game. Game 2 so far, they've been toe-to-toe with NRG the entire time. It's been great from them.
This is looking like an all-new Mouse. I think the honeymoon phase has benefited them greatly, and whether or not they managed to stretch this one out to a game 3, I think that anybody would agree to the sentiment that this scoreboard is not going to be revealing of what actually took place in this set.
No, not at all. If it were to end up a 2-0, certainly it could still go the distance and favor Mouse here. We'll have a chance to see in just a moment. But if you're a Mouse fan, this is something you can start to build on. It feels very reminiscent to me of them on their way into the Super Regionals from Season 4. Now they're going into another group stage feeling pretty hot.
Against all odds here for the Mouse team, but one way to get it started is definitely to try and bring this one home against NRG, because one more game could be all it takes in order for Mouse to bring the set home. And now that they have the Fire Giant, Cherryo, however, will be missing. He won't be able to get that Fire Giant. Mouse not wanting to take any chances, didn't bother waiting for the Athena respawn to take place to give him that Fire Giant buff. But I want to see Mouse pressuring out at least 1, possibly even 2 of the lanes. I don't think that they'll be able to successfully siege against NRG if they all just try to run it down mid or down either of the side lanes. They need to have some split push going. From FrostiaK especially, I think he's got to be the one to take up the mantle for this and really lead the charge on that split push factor, because otherwise there isn't really a good member choice for Mouse to really split push.
It's tough, isn't it? FrostiaK's built a little bit more hybrid than Adapting has. You know, with the Shifter Shield, Void Shield on Keylight, Mantle, all there for him. He's not going to have maybe the same damage Adapting is, but it's certainly still potent. So he could still, I think, threaten a Phoenix if he's able to find a push and demand attention from someone on NRG's side to come over. As they grab the mid-side tier 2, they're going to rotate over to right and grab it as well. But we've already talked about this a bit at length here, Taco. I mean, NRG have a great defensive squad to try and make life hard for mousesports. These Phoenix sieges of late across the board, SML, SPL, SCS, or SCL rather, and SGS, they've all been very, very tough to siege. Mousesports have a difficult task ahead.
And it's only getting more difficult as time goes on, because Mouse's window of opportunity to function and find either 1, 2, possibly even all 3 Firebirds is quickly dwindling here. NRG are waiting. Cherryo goes in for the taunt first and foremost, but he's not going to be able to find anything just yet.
They do whittle emilZy down to about half HP. Strife off the mark. This time when they re-engage, emilZy has given up his aggressive positioning, which should make their job a lot easier. Yammyn, though, finds good poke back onto Nika and Cherryo to bring them relatively low, but they'll have Fire Giant for sustain.
Adapting with a smart ward there into the mid lane just to keep tabs on what exactly FrostiaK is trying to accomplish, and it has to be adapting that's sent to the mid lane to play defense. Cherryo with another nice taunt there onto maniaKK, but there's not going to be the damage that they need. Tycho Drums instead going to take down Cherryo in the end here, and now Nika's getting taunted back in.
That was a perfect job punishing the initiator from NRG. It's maniaKK who takes the brunt of the damage. He can happily absorb it, and FrostiaK gives up the ultimate as well, looking to see if he could further initiate, but the opportunity was not there. I think if they're going to have that initiation and Cherryo goes in, FrostiaK might have to be a little bit sooner on that ultimate.
I just don't think that Cherryo was expecting to get blown up as quickly as he did. It seemed like his health just melted out of seemingly thin air.
Yeah, at this point, he just is not tanky enough. Not with all this damage coming out from Yammyn and emilitoo in particular, but really Yammyn has got that Obsidian Shard and the Divine Ruin, both providing pen for him to start chewing through some of these tankier characters. We were wondering what he was going to go with his next item. It looks like Book of the Dead to give him some more survivability, too.
Trouble now for Mouse inside of their own jungle. Adapting, charging up that Sonic Boom. Wants to find BigManTingz, but Ting's going to be a little bit too safe there. Will manage to get himself out of that pickle. And NRG forced to disengage.
Yeah, they called the full retreat on the back end of that, even with Cherryo still dead. Now, Defender of Olympus does kind of effectively shorten the respawn timer, right? The second that Cherryo's back up, he can have an impact on the fight when a lot of other gods cannot. So that's probably why they call the full retreat. Take this opportunity to finish off any items that need to be finished, upgrade any relics. Note emilitoo, I believe the only person in the game to not have upgraded relics at this point. So certainly that might slow him down. One more thing to keep an eye on.
This is also probably the first set where we haven't really seen much of a standout performance from emilitoo. He has definitely struggled here today against Mouse, and I can't tell if it's just exemplary target focus from Mouse or just poor positioning from emilitoo, but he has definitely not done himself any favors with some of his decision-making choices in this match.
He haven't had a lot of opportunities. emilZy gets locked down. emilitoo commits the ultimate on top of Cherryo, and that's instrumental to burn him down. Yammyn finds Dardez on the backside, but FrostiaK wants blood too. He removes. emilitoo goes up onto the tree, but can he afford to reinitiate into 4? He just watches Nika die. Yammyn finds him as well. NRG run through Mouse.
The call is to hard disengage there, and there's no other option. NRG still have adapting, so they don't really need emilitoo for this next Phoenix push. They're probably just going to want to take down that T2 tower in the mid lane and then look to possibly back to base. Or they could just run it right down the right-hand lane.
Why not?
Because there's a full wave there, and FrostiaK seems a little bit too distracted.
They can see where he is, can't they?
FrostiaK wants to take the mid Phoenix, though.
Well, they're going to recognize it, but I don't know if that's worth it. Can't they just keep pushing? NRG certainly have an opportunity now. FrostiaK is backing. BigManTingz is here as well, but I agree with you, NRG. Why not just keep pushing forward? A great strike, though, to slow them down. I think that might have been enough just by itself to slow down this NRG train.
Okay. Strife and the Unruly Magic combo for all of Yammyn's HP bar, please.
And they were like, oh, I see how it is. I get it. They also don't have emilitoo here for this one, it would seem, too. So that is a lot of their damage they would need. They're going to wait on him to respawn. So they reconsider. They fall back and wait. But now they have a win condition clearly identified, Taco. That right side Phoenix will be forever weakened. They'll have fire minions pouring down that lane as well, and an avenue right to the Titan should they need it.
And the pressure's on for Mouse with that right lane being so exposed, Finch. Just like you said, all it really takes is another 3-man wipe.
Yeah.
And that's game ending for NRG. As long as they have adapting and Yammyn alive or adapting Yammyn and emilitoo, a combination of any of those 3 is going to be enough, I think, to bring down the Titan.
And I've got to say, Taco, this commitment onto emilZy from Cherryo at the start of all their fights, they taunt emilZy because he's the frontliner, and they try and commit onto him, but they have not been able to burst him down yet. It hasn't worked for them. The Spirit Robe is so strong when the taunt comes out to mitigate the damage, and then the return, the counter initiation from NRG is excellent. They're able to chew through mousesports. Do they need to find a different target?
It's been time to find a different target than emilZy. This Amaterasu, not only does emilZy have a ton of movement speed as is, but he's also just tanky as all hell. Why would you want to keep aggressing into this Amaterasu? And even then, it might also continue working in NRG's favor simply because of the fact that emilZy probably wants Mouse to try and collapse on top of him. That way he has an even easier time setting up or corralling everybody into the center of that dazzling offense.
That's exactly what he's going to be looking for, is energy. Make it into the left side, Phoenix range, relatively unchecked. Nika comes through first, so does Cherryo. Good strife. Just whittles down Yammyn. No way. In fact, the dunk down from FrostiaK and Nika combination is going to remove Yammyn from the game. Now NRG have to play full defense. What a great initiation from mousesports to punish the mid laner of NRG.
Neither side is willing to budge against the other. Even though Mouse have an exposed right side Phoenix, they don't seem to mind it in the slightest. They're still going to tackle on the challenge of defending their left-hand lane from the likes of NRG, and they're going to be successful in doing so.
Cherryo going to try and track down Adapting on the right-hand side. He is quite fast, so won't be able to fully lock him down, and mousesports are not free to aggress even after finding a nice kill there because they have to defend the Phoenixes on the solo lane side. And so again, we reset back to parity. A couple of fights making the emilitoo the target don't work, so this time mousesports perfectly isolate Yammyn and burn him down.
NRG's time period, though, to function with this Phoenix removed advantage is quickly dwindling, though, Finch. That Phoenix is going to be respawning now in just about a minute or less, and NRG, despite how well they played around that left side Phoenix, it is just so incredibly difficult for them to keep Yammyn alive right now. It feels like Mouse have completely, or they weren't even interested in emilitoo there. They just wanted Yammyn.
They absolutely did. And how big has BigManTingz been this game? I honest to goodness think if he was on another god and they didn't have strife, I think the game would already be over in NRG's favor. It's been instrumental in fights for deterring NRG's aggression, for poking out a target very early on in these fights, second only to Dardez in terms of player damage. It's been so key for this team on their defenses.
Dardez still having this much of an impact as well is impressive.
Pretty nuts, isn't it?
Had some slip-ups in the early game, but he's done his best to recover since.
And we were saying, right, that we didn't know what kind of impact that this ability-based hunter would be able to have as opposed to maybe a more traditional basic attack hunter. But Hou-Yi is basic attack focused in some ways. He does have that Mark of the Crow, which makes him that much stronger. But it's not as potent as someone with the steroid. So Dardez has been able to match that same type of impact. Is adapting. Once Dardez, he commits the Sonic Boom.
And immediately gets caught up in the strife for it. Dardez, though, won't be expending... Oh, no, he does go into the Chiron ultimate, in fact, as FrostiaK now trying to look to commit onto emilitoo.
This is bad.
Flurry of Acorns is all that FrostiaK needs in order to find the kill, and one's already fallen. That's going to be maniaKK getting taken out by Dardez.
Oh, this is bad if you're an NRG fan. mousesports now with a chance to bear down onto the base. Yammyn somehow survives. Adapting finds Nika on the backhand side. It's emilZy who tanks up the golden apple of Discord. Dardez, though, very low. He can't walk in because emilZy can just do that and dash in and kill him on the backside. That's all their damage. Yammyn gets chunked by the strike, but he can keep on moving. And Adapting has plenty of damage in his own right. Controlled by the taunt, FrostiaK dashes in, but the big time crit sends him running, and Yammyn burns him down.
Yammyn and Adapting are just working so well together.
This
One's
is
peeling
nuts.
for the other at all points in time. Cherryo now nearly about to fall, but he's trying to take down Adapting in the process, but it's not going to be enough. That's a deicide onto Mouse. This is game-ending, Finch.
This could potentially be NRG Esports somehow losing emilitoo and maniaKK for nothing early on in the fight, are able to answer back. Only 3 members here. Adapting low HP is going to rush right on through. There's no one here for 25 seconds. Taco, this really could be it. Adapting has a ton of damage with the way that he's built so far. Yammyn for the clear. emilZy to tank it all up. NRG Esports pulled it back from the brink.
And just like that, Mouse forced to sit and watch in terror as NRG, they're starting to pull onto the fountain. maniaKK is going to teleport in for good measure, but he's not even needed. That's all she wrote on this one, Finch. And NRG with a 2-0 win over Mouse.
Heartbreak for the Mouse fans out there, I have to assume. What a tough loss to take. Really, in both games, it feels like defeat was snatched from the jaws of victory. That was a great fight from them on that right side lane. What happened there? I feel like Nika may have slightly overcommitted into that Phoenix.
Yammyn was saved by Adapting. If Adapting does not give just like a little bit of a body block there, Yammyn dies, and the entire outcome of that engage is completely different. I think Dardez still ends up dying to emilZy because of where he was positioned, didn't really have a chance to back off from the Amma dash, but at least NRG would not have been able to end because Adapting and Yammyn, once they healed up from the fountain, they came surging right back up out of the base and played cleanup crew.
Well, who was your MVP from that game? Do not ask me. A difficult question trying to determine who stood above the rest in an excellent game from both sides. I am not a big believer in moral victories. That's not my thing. But I think, Mouse, if there's ever a 2-0 that you can feel proud of, I think this might be it.
This is definitely it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. Those are just two really well fought out matches.
Absolutely. Just love watching great Smite. That's what we saw here from two very good teams. Let's get it back over to the desk, though, for their thoughts and the breakdown.
What a crazy day this has been. Yes, NRG find the 2-0. Mouse looked great. Mouse looked really like a good, solid, team.
And they should have won both games.
Yeah.
They really should have. This should have been a 2-0, but it should have been Mouse's
And then we also had SK taking games as well.
I know.
This has been a crazy day in Europe where I'm like, okay, this is top versus bottom. This is 2 stomps, 2 2-0s. And if some of the fans at home don't see these games, they're not going to know how close they really were.
I'll keep it real. I made plans tonight for 7 o'clock because I thought it was going to be a quick game, a quick day, but it wasn't.
That's what you get.
That's what I get. In mousesports, man, that last fight, that last siege on right Phoenix where Dardez has Aegis up and Dardez kills him because he silences with the dash first, but Dardez has got to be ready for that.
Funny enough, if you look back at that play, that really is for me the key moment. When emilZy dashes in and kills Dardez, the fight changes completely. And actually, really good credit to the fans at home there. MVP goes to emilZy.
Well deserved.
I'm more impressed with the fans now.
Yeah, that was good.
Great call.
Usually there's a lack of love for the supports.
Oh, they realize it now.
emilZy played very, very well in this game, and man, one of the hardest things about transitioning to a carry role outside of tank is beads and Aegis are so hard to use properly. And there, I wonder, in 3 months, does Dardez Aegis that play? And if he stays up and is able to stay alive, does mousesports just end the game right there? I think there's serious possibility for that.
Well, the good news is that technically it didn't really impact Mouse in any way, shape, or form. They're guaranteed to be 5th.
Yes.
So, in the grand scheme of things, it's a good warm-up for them. We're talking about warming up for the placements, and this is a big warm-up.
Man, Obey Alliance, they are feeling heartbroken, I bet, after watching that one. They just need one. If Mouse had taken one and then Obey went out, Obey could have clinched that top 2. mousesports come within this much of being able to get it, but Obey now still is out of. They need to win out, but NRG still control their own destiny.
And looking at the standings there, you can see that Obey have played 8 games so far. NRG have played 9.
NRG only play SK next week. So your Obey is relying on SK Gaming to take a game at least.
Minimum.
Off of NRG. So.
And for Obey to win out in their 2 remaining games.
And they've got Dignitas next week.
Yeah, it's not an easy one. Let's have a little look at the schedule for the remainder of this week, I believe, because on Friday, we've got some big matches here. eUnited versus Splyce, the current top 2 in the standings, facing off where Splyce have got a point to prove again, and eUnited still undefeated. Space Station Gaming, though, take on CLG in a battle of 2 teams that should be 2nd and 3rd in my eyes. And at the moment, they're more like 3rd and 4th.
We'll see. Splyce versus United is going to be critical. This is the first true test where I feel like Splyce really has a shot up against United. I'm very, very much looking forward to that one. And Space Station, that's a must-win, because imagine if Splyce beat United and then Space Station loses CLG.
Yeah.
Splyce is guaranteed top 2 at that point, I think.
We got a lot of things to talk about, especially after tomorrow when we can go through those SPL games too. But one thing for sure, all these teams, once again, Worlds tickets are on sale at the moment. hi-rez.expo.com, go there to get your tickets. And if you don't want your tickets because you've already got them, make sure you get your after-party ticket too. That's $50, and you can get that at hrxafterparty.eventbrite.com.
All these SPL teams looking to be top 2, so they don't have to go to placement stages. You can be top 2 just by going to hi-rez.expo.com and then hrxafterparty.eventbrite.com. That's 2 tickets, and you'd be top 2. There you go. Nice and easy.
I don't know why you just repeated everything I said. This is what co-casters do sometimes when they've got nothing else to say.
Nailed that one. Go ahead and close it.
He made plans for 7 o'clock. It's gone past 7. What are you going to do with your night now? Just sit there?
Yeah, I'm basically just going to sit here. Who cares?
That's what he gets. See, he's trying to be funny in his green tie. Well, it's over now. Thursday comes to a close. That's the end of Europe. Tomorrow, it's all about North America. Minor League begins at 11 o'clock in the morning. Over in UK time, that's around 4 p.m. Yeah, 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Central European time too. And in the afternoon, we'll have the SPL for North America. But thanks so much for tuning in today. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Don't forget, Peach it.